Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to do a video showing my Xbox collection for 2022. Now I'm on the Xbox Series X, so it'll kind of include some Series X games, but the first thing I want to put out there, just to prevent everyone from getting potentially offended, is again, this is my entire Xbox collection that's playable on the Series X. So there's only going to be a few Series X games, and I guess, talk about them. And also, this is mostly digital games. I do own some discs of the Series X version of games, but it's just the way it is now. When you think of Game Pass, obviously, and games with gold. And sometimes the digital sales are actually really good when you can get a game cheaper than you can hard copy. But sometimes you can still get a game, usually a newer game, cheaper on eBay than when they're still selling it for $60. So most of these games are digital, and most of them are Xbox One games. But with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and get started. And I want to mention that I'd made a video, it was actually, the time flies, 3 years ago now. So that would have been on the Xbox One X. So a lot of these games are the same, and a lot aren't ones I really acquired. They're just Game Pass games. So I'm not going to talk about every single game in detail. If you care that much, if I'm not an idiot, I'll link that old video, and I pretty much talk about every game, and a lot of these I haven't played. So original Assassin's Creed, that game's worth playing now because of FPS boost on the Xbox Series consoles. I played that like in 2010. It's been beat, but I kind of would, since I haven't played it in so long, I'm willing to probably play that one again just because you get that FPS boost. That is a 360 game. They never made that one any type of upgrade. Black Flag's probably my favorite Assassin's Creed. Played that back in 2015 and 16. Maybe that would be worth revisiting. The main game I want to talk about is Unity. I started that game in 2016. It was still kind of known to be broken. I mean, that was a few years later, so people kind of accepted it for what it was, and I think they fixed most of the bugs. But playing it on Series X, I mean, I'm not like a frame rate master. If it looks good to me, it looks good. So I'm not sure if it's running at a locked 60, but it runs very smooth, and it is at a higher frame rate. So if you never played this game, visually back on the Xbox One, it looked really good fidelity wise with like the big crowds and everything, but it was glitchy, and there is still like some ragdoll glitchiness and stuff, but it runs so smoothly. It really shines now, crazy enough, like 8 years later on this new generation. Now these three games were games with gold. I've never played them, but they're small file sizes. Speaking of that, you'll see that the storage, I'm using a 4 terabyte external Seagate. That was what I used for the Xbox One. So that has all of my old games on it. And then you have the 1 terabyte internal SSD. And then I've added the Seagate 1 terabyte like memory card. So I have 6 terabytes. So that's why I have so much storage on here, which is actually starting to fill up too. I never played Assassin's Creed 3. Remastered. A lot of the Ubisoft games have sales. That's when I picked them up. It's a game I should play, and I have the best version now. One I'm going to spend time on is Odyssey. This game I got on sale in 2019. One of the best experiences I've ever had. It should be called like Assassin's Odyssey. There's no Creed. This has nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. There is a DLC that they kind of shoehorn in the blade and the assassin stuff, but it's a beautiful world. It's pretty fun. It's different, this new style that they kind of started with Origins, that's more RPG like, especially Odyssey with the somewhat dialogue trees, but only certain things affect how your story changes. But it's really addicting. And again, I had bought the season pass at a later time when it was on sale. So it got repetitive, but I mean, I put, I think, 120 hours in, which is like crazy because I don't play games that much anymore. But this one took like up until a few months ago that I finally beat the DLC. I had beat the base game like maybe a year ago, and the DLC kind of got repetitive when you do the Atlantis DLC where you have to keep changing worlds and stuff. And it was kind of the same thing, just in a different world. So that kind of dragged on, but that was a really good game. Lots of time put in it, lots of content with that one. And again, I paid like $20, maybe 10 for the season pass, so I got my money's worth. Never played Syndicate that much. The Ezio collection's great. I recommend it. It's always on sale, and you get 3 good games, and they're a little bit boosted for the newer consoles. So my first Series X game is Valhalla. I haven't touched it yet, but now that I finished Odyssey, I probably should play it soon. I have another copy of Black Flag. Battlefield 3 and Bad Company. Haven't touched them, but I played both of them on PS3. But since they're backward compatible, I have them on here. I think they were free games. Battlefield 1 I've played, but it's pretty much dead at this point, but it's still kind of fun every now and then. I have noticed if I play it on Xbox, I usually get in a match. But if I play it on PlayStation, I usually don't get in a match, and there's way more PlayStation consoles out there, so I'm not sure why that is, but it seems the lobbies are easier to get into on Xbox. Battlefield 5, I think this was also, I don't think I paid for this, it must have been at Games with Gold or something, or I'm not sure, but I have it on both PS5 and Xbox. It's okay. I really liked some of the single player, which I did play, because I kind of like that World War II story over the Battlefield 1 ones. But it was okay. BioShock, I have the remastered collection for PS4, so I think I've played this before in the past. Black's an original Xbox game. Bully, I played like PS2 forever ago, so I picked up this scholarship edition for the 360, but I haven't played it. Didn't really like that Burnout that much, but I downloaded it, and it's one of those games I probably never touch again. BO3 is so old, not touching that. Call of Duty 2, it's an easy to get a lot of achievement points if you play it on Veteran, but I don't think I'm going to go through and finish play the few missions I'm still stuck on. I think someday I should replay Advanced Warfare. It had a good story. Original Black Ops, played it a lot, so that's what it is. Cold War, the story was okay. I didn't get that far into it. I hear it's not that long, but it seemed okay. I don't like the huge file sizes with Call of Duty, so I'm probably not gonna buy them. I didn't get Vanguard, doesn't really look that good to me, so I'm not sure when I'll get another one. I had to uninstall Modern Warfare because I got tired of the Warzone updates that were like, because they forced you to get Warzone even though it wasn't on the disc. And Cold War, it's separate, so but it's still a huge file size. But with that game, you can pick the different files that you want installed. But I do really like the multiplayer because it's like the remastered BO2, a lot of Black Ops lore in those maps and such. So that one's worth it for me. Probably my favorite game was Black Ops 2 for Call of Duty, but so I would like to play through it again for the campaign. But last time I ever tried to play lobbies, it was just like all modded, so it wasn't fun. Played Modern Warfare 2 remastered. Probably never touched it again. I don't like at all that they never made the multiplayer, or at least the special ops, but that was because Modern Warfare, the newer version, was out, so they didn't want to cannibalize their new game with an old game, because they know the old one would be like everyone would play that instead of Warzone or whatever. So probably not going to play MW3 again. Never played either of those two games. I don't think I played Conquer, Crazy Taxi, The Crew, or Crimson Dragon. D4 I did play a little bit one night. I think I talked about it in the 2019 version. It was pretty enjoyable, but I never picked it up again. I remember playing the PS3 demo of Dante's Inferno. It was basically God of War before God of War 3 came out. So I don't know if I'll ever play it again. I'm not sure, I assume that that's the original Dead Rising, just re-released or updated for the Xbox One. If so, I haven't played that in forever, and the text was so hard to read. And I remember like you kept getting these phone calls at the worst times, so I never beat that game. So maybe someday I'll go back. Dead Rising 4 seemed fun, or Dead Rising 3, I should say. I played that like back in 2017. Thought it was pretty cool, but I never touched it since. Destiny, I liked. I was late to it. I didn't have the full version, so you could only go so far. And then when it was on sale and I bought it, like the game was already dead. And I haven't really played Destiny 2 that much. Destroy All Humans, someday, probably play it. I remember playing the original one on PS2. So when it was popped up under, must have been a free game again. I don't particularly remember buying it, but if I did, maybe someday I'll play it. I never played Dragon Age, but I like Mass Effect, so will I play it one day? And then there's one of the few demos I have. I always like to have like one version of every sports game. So when that was the Games with Gold, I got it, but I haven't played it. I think I had NHL 12, maybe, or something. That was like the last one. And before that, I had maybe some like NHL 03 or something. That I really liked that one, but I was way younger. Probably wouldn't go back and play a game that old. I actually like the Rory McIlroy. I liked Tiger Woods, I think it was 04. And then I had 06 for the 360. It was very bare bone, but I remember having fun with it as a kid. I recently bought, I think, Tiger Woods 07, and then maybe like 13, or it was like, I think maybe the Masters one. And just like a year ago on PS3, and I remember having fun with that. So a lot of times I'd rather just play the older versions of sports games, and everyone that's into sports games kind of knows why. It's just, we think there's more character in the older games. Never played EDF, but I actually like, if you remember Classic Game Room, EDF was kind of a running joke. And the game kind of looked fun, but it didn't run that well, so I'm not sure if, with the FPS boost and everything, if it would run fine on here, so probably ought to play it one day. Skyrim's a game that I've played it a few times on different consoles, and I never could get that far. I don't know if I just didn't do enough random things to do better, but like if a dragon would show up, I'd always get killed, so maybe I'm just too underpowered to really progress that far. But it did get this Series X update, so I probably should try it again. Fear was in the last group of backward compatibility, because if you didn't know, I believe from what I've read, Microsoft's not doing any new additions to the backward compatibility program. I think they're just going to polish the ones that are existing. But Fear was in the last group, and I remember playing this game forever ago. Didn't get that far. It was actually pretty scary, but I was a teenager. So I didn't finish it. I don't know how far I got into it, because back then you kind of just played a game and didn't really think about it that much. Ethan Klein would like that. You just don't think about it, bro. But there are some backward compatibility games for whatever reason. Maybe if you had a 360, you could do it. I don't know. I'm not going to say. I do have a 360, but I haven't tested this. I'm not sure if they're just not in the store altogether, or if you just can't purchase them on Xbox One or Xbox Series consoles. And I believe Fear Files is one of those games that it's only backward compatible if you have a disk drive and you have the 360 disc. And I didn't know that Fear was Fear Files. It's a separate game, because I think there's Fear 1 and 2 and maybe even 3. And some of those are only disc only. So Fear Files is actually a different game from those. I kind of looked this up a while ago, and this is a disc only backward compatibility title. And I looked on eBay, and once they made it that some of them were going for like $80, $100, $120. And I have the whole box and all the papers, so I kind of thought about selling it, but I don't know, $100 is nice, but in the grand scope of things, it's not that much either. Like I have a copy of Pokemon Coliseum. That's probably worth a good bit too. But, you know, what's $200 going to pay for a couple of new games? You want to get a car or a nice TV, $200 isn't that much, so might just hang on to them. Never played Fable. Fable 3 was one of the first backward compatible games on, like, back in 2015, I think. Enjoyed it. Again, play this day and age, not looking to play that many older games. Far Cry 3, played that back when it came out. Didn't get too far in it. I believe Far Cry 2, like the older ones, were more pure. They weren't as the rinse and repeat formula, so I'd like to try that one someday. Far Cry 4, played like an hour. It looked pretty good. That's one I'd like to go back through. Played and beat Far Cry 5. It was like mechanically, control-wise, it was fun. The story was pretty underwhelming. I think they could have did more with it. Forza's old, not Horizon. I don't think I played Horizon that much. I played that, beat it. Forza 5 was when I got into sim racing. Got the wheel and the play seat and everything. I've done a lot of videos on that. Played that a lot, but 5 wasn't that good. It was looking good. It was a showcase for the Xbox One. 6, that was kind of when I was burnt out on Forza, so I played it a little bit, but not that much. 7 at least had the 1X update, so it's 4K. And at that point, I just bought it because it was on sale. But I haven't really played it that much. I believe Full Spectrum Warriors, like a SOCOM ripoff. Probably won't ever play it. Never played Gears 3, probably should. Never played Gears 4, never played Gears Judgment. All really good Xbox games that you want in your collection, but did play and beat Gears 1 and 2. Played a little bit of this, but when you play a game before, it's not always worth playing again. I actually enjoyed Golf Club, some GTA. San Andreas was a Game Pass game. I thought it was like, because it was in HDR, but something was set wrong with my TV. But all my other games look okay in HDR. And from what I could tell, any YouTube video I watched of San Andreas, like the blacks are all just way too crushed. So if it's like dark out, or different angles and cutscenes, or if they're in a house, I can't see enough of it to make it worth playing. I boosted the brightness up, and I don't want to have to turn HDR off on my TV or anything, so, or like console wide, just to play one game. And these were known to have glitches, so I probably won't be playing that. Never played. Halo 5, played some multiplayer. It's pretty good. I have been enjoying Halo Infinite. That's one of the newer games, Series X game. Definitely like the new formula. I think it's the best Halo's ever been under 343. Enjoy the online multiplayer. Spartan Assault, I think I played that when I first got the Xbox One. Master Chief Collection, I like that they keep updating it. It is compatible now with Series X. Hellblade's a game I just got on Game Pass. I think it has a Series X patch, so I'm looking forward to playing that one. Hexic or whatever had that on the arcade with the original 360, so I was able to get it, I think, for a few dollars to buy it, or maybe it might have still been on my downloads list, I'm not sure, but it was kind of fun. But I haven't touched it very often, but it is kind of a game you can kill some time with. Haven't played, probably will never play that, but never played. Started LA Noire, but didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Never played. I remember Lost Odyssey and like the commercial back when it came out, and I thought it was cool. And it's a pretty big game. I think it's like over 20 gigs. I'm assuming it came on multiple discs. I'm not sure if they added any fidelity for when it was backward compatible, but maybe someday, but probably not. Lost Planet, I think I played one of them a little bit. It might have been a demo, so when this popped up, I got it. I had Madden 25, then I wanted to get the newer one, so I got 15. I enjoyed 15. Never got 16. 17, I bought it, but it was okay. But I could really start to notice the bigger decline with Madden, which I noticed a lot in 2013. But 17 started to go really downhill for me. but I liked the soundtrack, and the graphics, everything was okay. I have 18 for the PS4, and that one was like where I didn't like the way it was just really just animation based anymore. And I played some Ultimate Team when that really exposed how easy like you can cheese the system if you just like run the same plays. And when the Ultimate Team, there's different levels like of hardness, and you can kind of learn how if you're on like a lower difficulty, you throw a Hail Mary and they always catch it. And then if it's on like the hard difficulty, you have to play it like 50 times to get it to work. So not a fan of Madden anymore. 21 was free, and since it's a Series X game, I think I played 2 games of it in like the last 7 months. Didn't enjoy it at all. Beat Mass Effect 1 back in the day. Played some of Mass Effect 2, never played 3. More importantly, I bought the trilogy, and that I have been playing a good bit. I'm still in 1. Kind of fun to have them all upgraded in one place, so I'll probably be playing that more. Played a little bit of Andromeda when it first came out. To me, I wasn't bothered by some of the glitches, but I just never really played it that much because it didn't have that same luster that the original did. And now that I have the Series X trilogy for the old one, I probably won't be touching Andromeda ever until I would beat the trilogy and then go to it. The Matrix, that looked pretty good demo-wise. I've watched videos, obviously the more technical analysis, but one day I'll boot it up and just see it for myself on my TV. Max Payne 3 was one of the games in that last BC update. I had that on disc. I bought that prior to GTA 5 coming out because I wanted like the most modern Rockstar game. And I didn't like it that much at the time, but coming back and playing it, it's actually pretty good. Like the gunplay is identical to what GTA 5 is, so it's probably like a beta test for what they were going to do with that. So it's a lot different than the first 2 Max Paynes, but so far I really like it, so I played a good bit of it in like one sit down, so I'll probably keep playing that until I beat it. Never played, I like the Medal of Honor games, so one day I might touch that. Never played Mercenaries, never played these Metal Gear Solids. This is Ground Zeroes, which I think I talked about before. Back when it came out, it seemed like really tactical and everything. And then I have the full version of Metal Gear Solid 5 on PS4. And it was too repetitive and open world, so it was kind of disappointing to me. So I actually like Ground Zeroes more than the full game. Never touched the Metro games, played and beat Mirror's Edge. That was really good. So I have the newer version if I ever want to try that. I'm a big fan of MLB The Show. I've been playing since 06. I haven't played all of them, but I've played most of them. Obviously, it was a Sony exclusive. This is the first year that it's on Xbox consoles, and it was a Game Pass game, so it just made sense to get it. I've actually played quite a bit. I'm at the All-Star break for the current franchise mode, so I'm like 90 games in. I wish there was a way you could play like a 100-game season, because 80 is not enough, and 160 is too many. So I don't know if I'll get the whole way through it, especially not before the next one comes out. And I hope they also make it a Game Pass game, because again, I usually only get like one sport game every so often. So I'm not going to be paying for the Show 22 unless it's like way different or something. Never played. 2K14 was really good at the time. Visually, I think it still holds up. It's kind of a little bit bare bones now that it's completely disconnected from online services. 2K21 I did buy, because again, I wanted that newer version for basketball for this generation. I had the 2K21 regular base console, was a free game. I played it, it was the same as like 19 and 20. And then I got this version and like same settings, and I like lost by 30 points. So then I was like, even though it looked good, I was like, even though it seems the same, something's different. And I haven't really like tried to relearn it to play it. NBA Live is pretty much dead. I actually enjoyed 18. I thought it was pretty good. 19 was kind of more the same, but I liked 18 more. Never played. A lot of these are just gold games. Portal, I always felt like the Valve games were popular, so I have it, but I've never played it. Project Cars I played, but it didn't work at the time. The settings for force feedback weren't right, so I haven't played it that much. Didn't run that well. Project Cars 2, I think they fixed a lot of that, but again, I haven't really, it's just not that worth it unless you really want to get into sim racing to just pick it up and play it. Never played Project Spark. Have Rage, that was a game, but I don't think I've ever played it. Doesn't look like a game I'll play. That was a Game Pass game I'd like to play someday. I kind of like the way it looked. Red Dead's very good. I beat it on PS3, and it looks really good. They really did a good job with this backward compatible version. Red Dead 2, so it was like one of the weirder ones that's really good, but I just never played it. I played a few hours and that was it. But I know that's a good experience waiting if I ever want to. I remember playing Red Faction on PS2, so I downloaded it. This was, I think, a Games with Gold. Rocket League I enjoy a good bit. It's a Series X update. Rocksmith, I bought it. I was thinking I would hook my guitar up and learn to play better than how I just kind of look up a song to try and play it tab-wise. But I never really got into it. I think there's a new one coming out. Rise is a game that looks good, but I've never played. Played the original Saints Row back in the day. And I'm not sure if this was a free game or if I bought it, but I'd like to play Saints Row 2. They were both like GTA until they changed things for Saints Row 3, which is when I didn't like it anymore. I'd never played Have Skate 3. I played the original Skate and liked it, so Skate 3, I'd imagine that was the most popular. So that one's probably worth the play someday. I never played Sleeping Dogs. Never played that. Played the original Battlefront back in the day, so this is worth the play someday. I actually think Battlefront 2 might have been the one I played. I'd imagine they're both pretty similar, so both of these are probably worth a play. I did play this one. I think it was like one of the first original Xbox games when they made them backward compatible. So I played that some, but wasn't really that good. Or maybe it was this one, I'm not sure. It was one of those two. I never played. I actually liked the original Battlefront. It was pretty fun. It just kind of felt like Battlefield with like Star Wars graphics and sound effects when they were really well done. But there wasn't much to the game, but it was pretty fun for the life that the game had. Super Mega, it was okay, but again, now that MLB The Show's on here, there's really not that much point in playing it. I have no clue what this game is. Here's a demo. If I ever get my sim racing stuff out, I'd like to try it, but at this point, it's an old game. I played the demo, I think, for Thief back when I first got the Xbox One. I really liked Titanfall. The original one's pretty much dead now, but it was pretty fun. 2, kind of just built off of 1. I loved the way the game played. And obviously 2 had a story mode and was actually pretty good, so I haven't touched it forever again because there's so many games I don't have time to play them, but this would be one, again, online. There's probably not that much going on, if anything, but it would be nice to at least finish for the story. I think this must have been a free game. Rainbow Six Vegas 2 is backward compatible. I played that years ago on the original, the 360. So when that was added in, I synced it up with my disc, so I'll be playing that someday maybe. These, I played, I think it was Chaos Theory, and back on PS2, really liked the game. So I did buy all of these when they were on sale. They weren't that much money. They were some of the best games when I was younger. So I'll probably play those, and hopefully, being that old, they're not going to take that long. They're not going to like 100 hours like Assassin's Creed. If they're like 10 or something, maybe I can go through them and actually play them and enjoy them. I think I have this game for, it was a backward compatible. The Division, I remember playing the beta, when I downloaded the full version. It must have been a Games with Gold or something, but haven't played it since. I think this version was better than the 360 version, so I bought this one. Never played. Definitive Edition, remember playing it back when I got it and beat the game. It was okay. Legend was one that I had on maybe like way back when I first got a 360. I never beat it because back then, if you got stuck on a level, you didn't really grind at it that often. So it's a game I like to revisit and beat. Never played Trials. This is like my newest game. It was Games with Gold. Kind of looks fun, so maybe I'll try it. Never played Vulgar. Watch Dogs, I thought was going to be really good when it came out, and I really didn't like it, so I again never played. The biggest one that I never played that I should have is The Witcher 3. It's actually kind of getting outdated now, but I'm sure I would still find it enjoyable. And then I downloaded The Witcher 2. It must have been a free game again. That I would obviously play 3 first because it's the one that you always hear so much about. But if I played it and liked it and beat it, which I know that game takes forever to go through, then I'd play 2. WRC 6 again. And then I'm not sure why I downloaded this one when both of them, they must have been gold games, because I'm not going to play them unless I get my wheel and everything out. Battlegrounds, I gave a try to the, like with 2K16. I don't like the 2K WWE games. They're not very fun. They're kind of just fun to watch for the entrances, but I don't like the slow faux simulation style they go for. So I tried Battlegrounds. It's a completely different control scheme. Seemed pretty cool. I like the way you could unlock people, but I didn't really get into it because I'd rather so much just play PS2, SmackDown vs. Raw, or Here Comes the Pain. So if I want, I'm not really willing to relearn the control scheme to play this kind of offshoot version of a WWE game. And then I like Yu-Gi-Oh! From back in the day, so I downloaded this, but I'm not sure if it's card-based or if it's like something different, like a top-down game, or if it's just simply a card game. So that's there if I ever want to try it, but that's everything. I can't believe that I pretty much talked about all these games. And then the apps, some of them actually don't work anymore, like I guess EA Play, because it's integrated into this games menu. I do use the Blu-ray player, so I do use that. The Dolby app, you can adjust your EQ, so that's worth it. Never use the Halo or Forza things. Game Pass is built in now to the menu, so you don't need to use that. I don't use most of these. The store I obviously use, and I have an Apple TV, so that's what I use for all my streaming, so I don't have to run a more electric heavy console. And there's really nothing else here. So you got a full library, and this is now where you find your EA Play games. I like the EA Play app better, but this is free, what's included with your Game Pass Ultimate. They never really add that many games, and you know, getting early access to the newest Madden that's going to be terrible. You know, it's not that much of a value, but since you're getting it for free, I won't again include it with your Ultimate subscription. I don't complain. And then we could talk all day about Game Pass. So many games in here that I could download. So that you really don't need a game collection anymore, because if you pay for this, but that's the thing, people like the old collectors, they want the disc and the ownership, but everything, you know, so patch heavy and everything like that. This is kind of the way it's going. Microsoft's doing a good job. It is a good value, but it is true you kind of need an internet connection, and you know, I guess some people would say you never truly own the game. Quantum Break looked good. I don't have good internet connection, so whenever I decide I want to do nothing but download a 100 gigabyte file, again, I did Hellblade. Control looks good too. Flight Simulator looks really good. This is, I believe, an exclusive series console that it won't work on the old ones. Big file size game. But again, kind of since I'm into sim racing, if I was going to play it, I think I'd want to just buy the yoke and everything and do it the right way. You can get them pretty cheap. Like, you don't have to buy the rudder. You can just get the yoke or whatever. I think it's like, maybe you can get them for $50 on eBay. But again, am I going to dedicate that kind of time like I would when I was younger? Like I did a Forza 5 when I played like 100 hours and got good at sim race. Well, at least sim racing on console. I'm probably not going to be willing to do that. Like Forza 4 and 5, I know they're popular games, but again, that's just the way I am. I'd rather play it with the wheel and I don't feel like getting all that out and then wanting to dedicate the time to actually sit down and have some good playthroughs. Long Dark, another game that one day maybe I'll touch. The next game I'm going to download is this one. It looked really good. It's a Series X update, so that's one that once I beat Hellblade, I would like to do Plague and then Control. So those would probably be the next ones on my playlist. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's 172 games, probably 30 or so, or physical copy. Most of those 30 were bought in 2014, 2015, maybe 2016. And then I get a few here and there. Like I got Valhalla and that NBA 2K and Black Ops Cold War. Those were all physical discs because they were cheaper to buy physically at the time. Some of a ton of them are games with gold. Some of them are backward compatible that I already had that are just moved over. Some of them I bought, and then now a growing amount in most of my games now I just are Game Pass games. So I have 172. Sounds like a lot, but again, some of this collection I've started since 2006. The Xbox One I've had since 2014. So it's a big collection for those reasons, and anyone can have a big collection now with Game Pass. So I can't believe how long this video went on, but I try to do justice by talking about all the games and what I think about them. So hopefully that's enjoyable. That's how I can store them all because of the external storage and everything. So let me know, do you have external storage? How many games do you have? And if Game Pass, again, that's a great way to get a lot of games without having to pay for each one. But just being an Xbox subscriber, you get games with gold, and if you get Game Pass, it's a great way to get a good bit of value out of your console. So I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully you found this enjoyable, and I'm going to go pass out from all the talking and reminiscing of my Xbox gaming journey. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.